nucleotide or exosome or different vitamins and minerals in the form of mesotherapy considered as a biostimulator.
Turkey's a particularly popular destination because the costs are so much lower. There have also been a lot of horror stories about what can happen when things go wrong, even people dying from post-surgery complications. What would you advise people?
Choose as a practitioner or surgeon very carefully and never prioritize price over quality. This is your face after all, your body after all. And mistakes can be reversible. It can be irreversible. And sometimes it's not like a booking restaurant or hotel. It's a sensitive matter that can affect their confidence and skin and body for life. So they need to choose very wisely. They need to search what kind of methodology that particular surgeon, they perform the treatments. Are they using any safety tools?
GB News, the People's Channel.
Hi, I'm Michelle Dewberry, and my show is your opportunity to cut through all the noise and dive in headfirst to some robust debates. Ideas clash.
Situation, isn't it?
Because
the failure is...
You're deliberately avoiding my point. Nothing's held back.
And if you think this is the end of it, wait for more.
And we do not shy away from the difficult stuff.
Sometimes I want to shake people and say, if only you understood.
So join me on Jubes & Co. weeknights at 6 p.m, only on GB News, Britain's news channel.
Hello, it's 11 o'clock, which means it's time for tomorrow's newspapers tonight. Join us over the next hour to find out the secret diary of Hitler's English girlfriend, aged 13 3/4. No, she wasn't aged that, but it's been revealed. Blimey, Hitler put it about a bit for someone who's only got one ball. Also, we've got Labour's Attorney General. That's not him, that's J.K. Rowling, who fought to keep migrants in the country. Honestly, is anyone in Labour actually on Britain's side? And J.K. Rowling is getting stuck into a court case that's going to answer the question of our times. What is a woman? I'm Leo Kearse, and I'm a woman, and tonight I've got comedians Cressida Wetton and Lewis Schaefer taking you through Friday's top stories. This is Headliners. But before tomorrow's news, let's go to tonight's headlines with Tatiana Sanchez.
Good evening. The top stories from the GB newsroom. Israel's government is meeting to vote on the Gaza ceasefire deal after the Security Cabinet recommended approving the agreement earlier today. Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu says the first hostages are expected to be released as early as Sunday if the deal is approved. Terror group Hamas attacked Israel on October 7th in 2023, killing around 1,200 people and taking 251 back to Gaza as hostages. The attack triggered a massive Israeli offensive on Gaza, during which more than 46,000 Palestinians have been killed, according to the Hamas-run health ministry. A group of 8 men who were part of a West Yorkshire grooming gang in the late 1990s have all been jailed. 3 of the men, 47-year-old Ibra Hussain and brothers Imtiaz and Fayaz Ahmed, all from Keighley, were sentenced for rape today. They were found guilty of assaults on a girl after a trial in November and December last year. 5 other men were jailed last year for their involvement. The court heard the offenders had targeted 2 children. The man who served 14 years in jail for the murder of schoolboy Jimmy Mizzen has been recalled to prison for breaching his licence conditions. Jake Fahry killed Jimmy and in 2008 was sentenced to 14 years behind bars. Part of the 35-year-old rapper's parole agreement includes being barred from entering the Greenwich Borough of London. But in music videos found by the Sun newspaper and watched by his victim's family, Fahry, who goes by the alias 10, was filmed in front of Canary Wharf inside that area. Culture Secretary Lisa Nandy says the BBC should reflect on the decision to showcase the drill rapper on their One Extra radio show. And former Manchester United, Manchester City and Scotland forward Denis Law has died at the age of 84. Law won 2 league titles with United and was a member of their European Cup-winning side under Sir Matt Busby in 1968, when they became the first English club to lift the trophy. He scored a total of 237 goals in over 400 appearances during an 11-year spell at Old Trafford. The Aberdeen-born footballer previously announced in 2021 he'd been diagnosed with dementia. A family statement this evening said he fought a tough battle, but finally he's now at peace. And those are the latest GB News headlines for now. It's over to headliners.
For the very latest GB News direct to your smartphone, sign up to news alerts by scanning the QR code or go to gbnews.com/alerts.
Hello and welcome to Headliners, your first look at tomorrow's top stories with 3 top comedians. Let's start with a couple of front pages. The Sun has no remorse. That's the story about the drill rapper that was platformed by the BBC. We're going to cover that in a moment. He's been sent back to jail. The Times has Labour's tax plans trigger exodus of millionaires. The Telegraph has Trump to rule on Starmer's Chagos deal. Now, let's have a closer look at those front pages, starting with The Sun. Cressida.
Great, OK. So The Sun has no remorse. Murder rapper sent back to jail. Jimmy's mum, Fari, heartless. Well, of course, that's how she feels.
So Jimmy is the 16-year-old teenager that he killed.
Was murdered, yeah. And so this guy's been... I think I'm right in saying he's created a song that includes details of the crime and he's now been taken back to prison because of it. So he's got to serve another year.
They're certainly looking at there's been allegations, certainly from what it says. He brags in the song about lying in court. He brags in the song about killing people, seeing them die. It's all seems very autobiographical and also incredibly heartless and horrible for the parents of this poor 16-year-old boy that he killed to hear about. And it's incredible that the BBC didn't do any due diligence before platforming it. I mean, I know it's we can't really point fingers given that we're platforming Lewis Schaefer.
Yes. And I'm platforming myself. Maybe I'm lying. Who knows whether it's true or not? But the truth is, you can't blame the BBC for platforming them. They had Jimmy Savile on all those years.
You can blame them for both.
No, that's all they do is platform people without.
Wow.
Isn't that what they do? And we're paying for it. I hate the BBC so much. They don't give me a job. The point is normally it's adults doing things to kids, and this is a kid doing things.
Well, no, there's a 33-year-old, 35-year-old, I believe now.
Oh, now he's 35.
He's 35. So he went to jail. I believe he killed Jimmy in 2008 or 2009 and went to jail for 14 years. So, you know, it was supposed to be a life sentence, but he got out when he was 33.
But in English, that's considered a life sentence.
Yeah, they had to empty the jails to make space for people who posted memes, I assume. So, he was let out, and there's a connection between drill rap and violence. Yeah. It's often, interconnected, and police have used... There's been some controversy around the police using it.
The first,
using the lyrics, in convictions.
Yeah, wow.
So, I mean, it's just shocking that the BBC would put him on without doing... I mean, he's wearing a balaclava. Take the balaclava off! How? Like, come on, have you not seen Scooby-Doo?
Yeah. But how is that shocking? I don't find that shocking. It's a typical thing in Britain.
It's shocking because we're shaken down to pay for the BBC and because the BBC have made themselves the arbiters of truth in the national discourse by having BBC Verify. They say, oh, we're the people who can decide what's correct and what's false, but they can't even see through a balaclava to see a rapper that they're putting on the radio is a murderer.
Leo. Maybe this was true before the BBC started charging people for money.
Yeah.
But since they started to charge people for money, very recently...
They've always...
No?
No, we're thinking about them not doing that now.
Yes,
but
so
currently
that's
still
why you can't say it's not shocking. It is typical of what the BBC does. The BBC should not be given any of our money directly unless you want to give murderers money who've been let out of prison. Some murderers should be given money.
I'm not sure. I mean, in fairness, the BBC is a big organisation. There's going to be mistakes sometimes. But then if there's going to be mistakes, don't have a part of your organisation called BBC Verify that makes itself the god of what's true.
What are you saying, Leo? They shouldn't take any of our money. And if they take exactly,
I agree with that.
Even if only one small part of it was about like harbouring murderers.
Yeah.
But the fact is they're taking everybody's money, even if you don't want money taken.
Well, they're not taking my money. I don't pay my licence fee. So how about that? And you know how I got out of it? How? When the guy came round with the clipboard, I answered the door, really hungover in my boxer shorts, and said, "No, come in, mate, I don't even use the TV for watching BBC. And he was like, no, I'll just tick the box that says you don't need it. Anyway, moving on, Lewis, we've got the Times. What's on the cover of the Times?
Oh, this is the newspaper, really, not whatever that is. This is Trump to rule on Starmer's Chagos deal.
The Times.
The Times. Oh, sorry. I didn't read this. No. Labor's tax plans trigger exodus of millionaires. This is one written totally for me because I'm a millionaire. Press it up.
No, you're still here. That's what you are.
I'm still here. And I'm not a millionaire, but maybe I'll leave the country. Maybe I'll just...
Well, you've got a better country to go to.
People are fed up with Keir Starmer and what's happened, and they can predict the future, and it's not good for this country.
Absolutely. And I mean, for all the socialists, people on the left want to have their revenge against rich people by taxing them into the ground. The fact is that we've got a mobile elite class now who can go and live in Dubai, they can live in America. Money can go wherever it wants, pretty much. And if the millionaires leave, I mean, who do socialists think is paying for everything?
His thing, does he live here? Is he one of ours?
I should imagine he's got some quite sophisticated tax arrangements.
That's how he kept his wife living with him and being happy. Louis Schaefer's all alone.
OK, fair enough.
But I mean, it's a worry, Cressida, isn't it? Because, I mean, I think Britain is second only to China in the number of millionaires we're losing. And obviously, if you're in China and you're a millionaire, there's a risk you're going to go to the gulag. I guess there's a risk of that in the UK as well.
Yeah, well...
No, if you get on the wrong side of the party.
Right, yeah, of course. I mean, well, it's not a surprise, is it? I don't know why this is in the headlines right now, a record number. Because it's just getting worse and worse. This is it's exactly what you've been predicting for months, Leo. No, years.
Yeah, but I mean, what do people think? Like, you raise income tax, you raise these taxes. Like, a tax on smoking stops people smoking. A tax on sweets stops people eating sweets.
We are becoming
what does a tax on income do? It stops people earning money.
Well, you mentioned China, and I've been studying China via YouTube, and I've watched lots of videos. I can't tell whether they're legitimate videos or they've been put out by the Taiwanese political party. I can't tell. But it looks like China is a matter of minutes away before totally crumbling.
Oh, really?
Yes.
The property, I guess...
This is his favourite new...
What?
Your favourite new topic?
It is, because it's, like, so shocking. What's her name goes... Rachel from Accounts goes over there to get money from them, and they give them £600 million, which is like nothing. They have like no money. Number one, it's not just the property. There's a 50% unemployment rate. The population of China, based on probably the lies that I've been fed, is now down by half. It's not like 1.4 billion people.
But I've just got to counter this, even though it's completely at a tangent from what we should be talking about. China is energy consumption is skyrocketing and is surpassing America's and obviously way surpassing the EU. We're in terminal industrial decline. So I'd say the Chinese economy is actually firing a lot hotter than we're told.
That is what we have heard, but I'm going to deny this without any information today.
Well, talking about information, let's move on to the Telegraph, Chris.
OK, Trump to rule on Starmer's Chagos deal. Britain puts future of the islands on hold as Mandelson ramps up anti-China rhetoric. So, what was this? Are we waiting for Trump to get in and he's going to make a decision when he's in, I guess? I got this a very short time ago. Any thoughts, Leo?
Well, I think the Chagos deal is just... There are so many stories in tonight's show that are just emblematic of Labour sort of working against Britain's interest, and this is just one of them. Trump has had to step in to stop Starmer giving away what's essentially part of the UK, and it was a very strategic, very important strategic island for us to have if we're ever going to, go to war with China. Not that I want it to happen, but you know what I mean? If it happens...
It's right in the middle of everything. But you're making it seem like maybe Starmer will give it away, but I don't think Trump is going to give it away. And we have our military base there. It's one of the largest bases in the world.
We don't have a military to put on it, but we've got a base.
Whatever. Exactly. You don't have the aircraft.
Also, there's this story here about police not recording the ethnicity of criminals out of fear of appearing racist.
Well, I mean, I'm waiting for you to say I'm shocked by this. I'm not shocked by any of this.
It does feel like a story from about 18 months ago, if not longer, doesn't it? This never changes.
People know the truth. They want to have social cohesion. That's word's been used, right, Leo? Yeah. Social cohesion, which is what I'm into when I go out looking for foreign girls to hang out with. Social cohesion. No one believes it. No one sees it.
Oh no, that's something I believe. I believe money changes hands as well.
Let's have social cohesion.
But this is one of the. I mean, I was a criminal intelligence analyst, and we were told that if you don't, I used to have a proper job. If you don't record ethnicity data, demographic data, then you're failing those communities. You know, if you do it out of some idea that you're going to make the world a better place by just ignoring it, being blind to it, the communities that commit more crimes, the crimes impact those communities the most as well. They tend to be intra-community. So this is just really short-sighted, and it's actually racist of the police to do it.
It isn't short-sighted. You are, like, I tell you, like, so innocent. And
also,
this is done for a reason. Why is this done, Leah? Why do they not?
So they can put their heads in the sand and say, so that researchers, Ella Cockbain or whoever from UCL can say, oh, we've looked at the data and there's no over-representation of Pakistani Muslims in the rape gangs.
Because it's all done
because they can say the data isn't there. The data might not be there, but we can see the mugshots. I mean, the mugshots are visible from the moon. We just saw one in the
but we're not saying it. What is Cressida? Cressida asked me a question.
Well, I was saying you're widening out to everything's a conspiracy, this is done on purpose.
Yes,
you're saying it's willful blindness.
I'm saying it's done deliberately, because if they cared about showing up the ethnic groups that were involved in this, if there are, then they would do it. They'd say, look, it's not as true as you think it would be.
A rare moment of agreement. I agree with you. I think it is done deliberately. Let's have a look at some more front pages. We've got the Eye with train drivers to demand bigger 2025 pay deal and new headache for Labour. The Daily Mail has found after 80 years the secret diary of Hitler's English girlfriend. And the Daily Star, or the Saturday Star, has Make Hollywood Great Again. And let's have a look at those with the Eye. The train drivers want more money, Lewis.
Well, I'm glad you repeated the headline again. Yes, the train drivers. That's so important. I mean, people are out there saying, I'm so glad he repeated it, because I had stopped paying attention hours ago. Anyway, train drivers demand bigger 2025 pay deal from New Labour.
Didn't they just get a big pay deal?
Yes, they
did. And also, don't they just sit in their bums?
They got a pay deal, and then we had worse trains, I think. I think that's what happened. Because it turned out that if we weren't doing overtime, they didn't need the overtime because, And
it's the most expensive trains in all of the world, I think, British.
And a couple of weeks ago, they were told not to go. Loads of trains were cancelled because they were told by their unions not to walk in the snow. Can we just replace them all with robots tomorrow?
Well, are you going to say you're shocked? You're shocked.
I am shocked. I'm shocked nobody is grasping this nettle and replacing everybody in this country with robots. What about the Daily Mail, Cressida?
The Daily Mail found after 80 years secret diary of Hitler's English girlfriend. Apparently, he had one over here. And there's a quote here: the Führer was heavenly, he is an angel. Read the intimate and profoundly shocking diaries.
But enough about your opinion. What does it say?
Enough about her experience.
Oh, isn't it gross? Isn't it? I mean, and not just for all the hideous crimes and the Holocaust. I mean, fair enough, all of that. But he's just got swipe left energy, hasn't he? I've always thought that.
Because he's vegan.
Yeah.
Because the tash,
it's a bit sweaty.
all of it. It's not a look that's carried for me. Well, nobody else ever took that look on, did they?
He was very popular in Germany
well, he was.
That time.
That's true. That's very true.
But I mean, because I wasn't born in this country. I'm not from around here. But who exactly is Hitler? I'm not from.
Okay, it's finally we've got the Daily Star. What does that have?
Oh, the Daily Star.
Do you want me to tell you? It's Make Hollywood Great Again.
Right here. Make Hollywood Great.
One day we'll teach you how to get bits of paper in order.
They want to badmouth Donald Trump, who is going to be the greatest, I hope, one of the greatest presidents ever. Orange Man bad. Well, what are you laughing at, Cressida? Orange Man baby's #1 priority is 47th president of the United States gets Rocky to save Tinseltown. He had Rocky Balboa, who is he's like a Hitler.
Sylvester
Stallone.
And also, who else? Mel Gibson.
Mel Gibson
is going to be one of the ambassadors to Hollywood, which, I mean, he might be a bit of a contentious choice.
But you know what?
It's quite a change,
isn't it? Jews on their guard.
Mel Gibson said something funny, because, his house just burnt down. So he said, does this job come with an ambassador's residence?
Oh, he said that, yeah.
Well, he might have said it. I saw a meme that said he said that, and I believed it, because I believe everything I see on the internet.
I don't want to say something bad about the guy, but he looks a bit shaky. He's like making huge faces, like when he's talking to people. His eyes are bugging out. Isn't he doing that?
Gibson or Rocky?
Mel Gibson.
Right.
He sounds great. We should get him on here.
Yeah. No.
You should be careful, because he's the ambassador to Hollywood now, and you do a lot of work in the movies, Lewis. So you don't want to alienate
I was in a movie just yesterday, and I can't mention which one it was, but I was quite quite good in it.
OK, good. That's the reviews in already. That's the front pages done. Join us after the break for the cost of COVID vaccine harm, which I thought was a conspiracy theory. The government's top legal advisor helping migrants to stay in the UK. And the European Union is going to war with Elon Musk. Is it a good idea to fight with a man who controls space? See you in a couple of minutes.
GB News Breakfast. Every day from 6 a.m.
Tell us about the backlash situation, first of all.
Yeah, so the Duke and Duchess of Sussex visited a local food distribution centre, handing out food parcels to those who have been displaced or emergency service workers as well. And they happened to be captured by a local news crew. I think it was a Fox News crew. It's part of World Central Kitchen. That's a charity that they have supported for a number of years now, who've been doing this food distribution things. Whether or not it was a photo op, it's really unclear. I don't think we're ever going to get the answer to that. They didn't look like they were made up to look glam for the television. It looked genuine, but of course we know Meghan is an actress as well. So I'll let you make up your own mind on that one. But then we found out very late last night that the Duchess has asked Netflix to postpone her new lifestyle programme, and the Duchess has released a statement actually, and she says, "I'm thankful to my partners at Netflix for supporting me and delaying the launch as we focus on the needs of those impacted by the wildfires in my home state of California." She thinks it would be inappropriate to launch a glossy programme where she's in a $5 million mansion cooking food. It's an 8-part series, and hopefully by that time these fires will be well and truly extinguished.
Well, they're also getting criticism in the US as well from Jason Bateman's sister, that's the actor, talking about that photo opportunity that people are calling it, saying that Meghan Markle and Harry are no better than ambulance chasers and they're disaster tourists.
It is difficult, isn't it, for Meghan and Harry trying to find their place in the world. Are they media, entertainment personalities, celebrities, and doing Netflix and all the rest of it? Or are they going to be humanitarian workers like perhaps being members of the royal family would be? And I think at the moment they're kind of straddling those two different worlds, aren't they?
GB News, the People's Channel.
In the GB Newsroom, we bring you the news as it happens.
With our team of dedicated journalists across the UK.
We're ready to keep you up to date with what's happening every half an hour, every single day. Bulletins here on GB News.
The People's Channel.
Britain's news channel.
Thank you, Britain.
Thank you for watching.
Thank you for listening.
Thanks for subscribing.
Thank you for your support.
It's you that make us the People's Channel.
As we reflect on our journey so far, we're filled with immense gratitude.
You mean the world to us. We couldn't have reached this point without you.
As a very special thank you, we are giving you the chance to win one of 50 GB News thank you boxes. They're worth £50 each.
For full terms and conditions, and to enter, just go to gbnews.com/thank you.
Welcome back to Headliners. We've got the Telegraph, and the government's top legal advisor isn't having a good week. He's been accused of profiting from Gerry Adams winning compensation from the British taxpayer, and now it's been revealed that he fought to help migrants stay in the UK, Cressida.
He certainly did. Attorney General fought Home Office to help migrants stay in the UK. He fought the Home Office. He opposed the Home Office. And he's got this idea that the way we look at the age of migrants it's not lawful because there's a possibility of mistake. And the reason there's a mistake is that migrants, people that want to come here, asylum seekers, often rip up their documents and throw them away. And so then they tell you that they're 14 and they came here on their own and they missed their mum.
Yeah.
But sometimes that's not true.
Yeah.
For example, there was one man who authorities suspected was in his mid-20s who said he was 14. It later turned out that he'd told some other authorities he was 26, for example.
Wow.
Sometimes people don't tell the truth.
And this can be dangerous because they can be placed in schools, they can be placed with foster carers. My mate Moses, he's a foster carer for children, him and his family, and they had a kid placed with them who's clearly, he's an asylum seeker who's clearly way older than the age given on the form, and he's got kids at home, so
It's dangerous. You're putting 26-year-old men in a school classroom with 14-year-old. I mean, it sounds like an age-old Labour policy, to be honest.
Yes, Louis Schaefer's dream. Was that too much? Anyway, no, but what are you asking about? What is the story? The story is saying that the Attorney General today, some years ago, was defending an Eritrean person who was possibly lying about being age.
Yeah.
So he was forcibly defending this kid or whatever, this person wanting to live in this country.
Yeah, but it's not just that. He's attacking the style. He's saying the way we assess this is no good because it could
that's not
be wrong.
what it is.
Yeah, when the reality is the way we assess the age is bad because it veers too much. It's way too lenient.
Yeah, so the risk falls on the host country rather than on the person applying.
That's not what this
And you
article
can't
says.
yes,
this
it
article
does.
is saying
He's complaining.
the Attorney General is no good because he was actually... maybe being a lawyer in this country is different than in America. And in America, when you're a lawyer, you have to fight as hard as you can for your guy. And that's what this guy was doing.
Yeah, no, that's a valid point.
fine.
I mean, everybody has got the right to fair representation and, for a lawyer to act in their interest. And we've seen, obviously Sadiq Khan, Keir Starmer. There's a pattern of Labour politicians being human rights lawyers and doing exactly that for terrorists. Everybody, mafia bosses, whoever it is, deserves representation. But should that person then go on to be the Attorney General? I think that's the question that needs to be asked.
Yes, because he's a lawyer. And you don't want your lawyer to say to you, you know what, I could use this defense and you would win, but I'm trying to get an office in the government in about 14 years. That's what you're saying.
Well, so maybe you shouldn't be applying for both jobs.
Unfortunately, they like to hire lawyers to do things, and that's what a lawyer does.
I think we've got a soft-touch asylum system and it's been exploited by these lawyers. Well, moving on, we've got the Telegraph now, and COVID vaccine harms were a far-right conspiracy theory a couple of years ago. Now, it turns out the government budgeted nearly £2 billion for them. That's quite a lot for a conspiracy theory, Lewis.
Well, actually, it's not, because this is COVID vaccine harms were expected to cost the government $1.7 billion, inquiry hears, but the government was being told it might cost up to $231 billion.
No, that's the benefit.
The benefit of it.
That's the benefit of it.
No, sorry. That the government had estimated indemnity costs between $75 billion and $300 billion.
Right.
So I was right. So it is. So take that back. I was almost right. That's the wrong number. No, that wasn't totally. Don't laugh at me, Cressida.
Get on with it.
Get on with it. Shut up.
So basically, the government budgeted $1.7 billion for COVID vaccine.
And it could have been as much as $300 billion. But the truth is, look at the benefits that we got from COVID. All those old people dying, then we don't have to pay their insurance policies. That's a tremendous benefit.
Just to provide balance, some people would say that death is bad.
But it's considered good. We basically poison those people by by giving them all sorts of these viruses.
Let's move to Cressida before...
I think, as Leo said at the beginning, the issue is that the government anticipated £1.7 billion. They were telling us it would be £1.7. That's the problem. They were telling us it was safe and effective, nothing to worry about, nothing to see here, crack on. Meanwhile, we now know that they'd put quite a bit of cash aside for when it went wrong.
Imagine if they told us this at the time. Do you think... I mean, if you'd have said this on a YouTube video back in the day, you'd have got banned from YouTube.
Yeah, they wouldn't have.
Exactly right.
But no, the main point is they are saying at the time they actually thought it might cost $300 billion.
And the truth is they didn't know because it says there was work done on what the net benefit would be, but they didn't know because it was too soon.
That's what could have meant.
Well, OK, but that's like putting a finger in the air, isn't it? They didn't know.
But they're saying this could be really, and they said, oh, my God, we've got to... They lied to our faces.
OK, well, moving on, we've got the Telegraph, and Asda is backing the farmers. It's good to see they're not biting the hand that literally feeds us, Cressida.
Asda backs farmers in Labour inheritance tax row. So, Asda's jumping on the bandwagon. We know about Morrison's have already done this. With Morrison's, it's kind of in their style, isn't it? They've got that advert that goes, Morrison's cheap, or something like that. I don't know exactly what they say, but it's all we're from the north, we're into farmers. Asda, not like that, but they're jumping on this time. This is like the opposite of the Dylan Mulvaney thing, isn't it? Well, they're suddenly realising, back the farmers, it's a good look for people that like food.
It really is.
So you're saying it's phony. Cressida is saying
No, I'm not. I'm saying it's a good business decision, and also we do need farmers.
I would say it's phony. And like the Morrisons thing was phony. They're not going to get any harm by saying, you know, we're not happy about this. And when Asda says this...
But come on, it's better than... I mean, Labour seem to be backing, you know, Bill Gates and BlackRock and any large sovereign wealth fund that wants to buy up British land and then have the British people over its knee.
So you're saying it's just a good thing that an organisation out there is taking the sides of good, decent people and not the Labour government?
Absolutely. It makes a nice change, to be honest. Anyway, still to come in the second half, TikTok gets banned, but the ban might be over quicker than a TikTok video. Labour are criticised over the sexualisation of school kids. Seems to be a theme. And a BLM activist mayor has spent a bunch of public money on a luxury holiday for herself. What are the chances? This is Headliners, only on GB News.
Good evening. It's time for your latest Met Office weather forecast for GB News. Now, as we go through this coming weekend, it is going to be pretty chilly, despite the fact that there may be a bit more sunshine on offer than we've had through today, at least. Still heavily under the influence of high pressure, this clinging on for quite a while, but eventually, as we go through this weekend, a front will push in. But for the time being, any frontal systems staying to the northwest, so the wet weather across northwest Scotland through today, that clears away this evening, so a largely dry picture overnight. A lot of cloud though, clear breaks really confined to just northern parts of Scotland and a few breaks elsewhere. Where we get the clear breaks, temperatures will drop a touch of frost. Even under the cloud though, it is going to be a cold and perhaps even frosty start first thing tomorrow morning. Like I said, the greatest breaks overnight will be across northern parts of Scotland. So here a bright start, but a chilly one for some places here. Further south, it is looking largely cloudy, limited breaks in the cloud overnight and first thing tomorrow morning. So not a huge amount of sunshine. And across much of England and Wales, a lot of cloud, and that cloud is going to be quite thick. So there will be some spots of drizzly rain around. And with temperatures in some places close to or a little bit below freezing, that drizzly rain could actually come in the form of snow grains instead in some places. But as we go into the afternoon, a greater chance of seeing some sunny skies, especially across parts of northern England, Wales, the southwest, and also northern parts of Northern Ireland and Scotland too. That being said, temperatures are likely to be a little bit lower than today, and in the south it's going to be pretty chilly, and even further north only around average for the time of year. After a potentially foggy and frosty start on Sunday, it is going to be a similar day to Saturday really for many places. Some sunshine, but a bit of rain starting to push its way in from the west, although this doesn't look especially heavy. Staying largely cloudy as we go through the outlook period into the beginning of next week, and temperatures a little bit on the low side. Bye-bye.
Join me, Camilla Tominey, for a frank and honest discussion with those in power that cuts through the spin and gets to the heart of the issues shaping our nation.
You haven't confirmed that you want to stand as leader, but you haven't ruled it out either.
This report basically says that he's not fit to stand trial. Is he indecisive? Incompetent? I deliver the dose of reality Westminster needs. That's the Camilla Tominey Show at 9:30 every Sunday on GB News, the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
Hi, I'm Michelle Dewberry, and my show is your opportunity to cut through all the noise and dive in headfirst to some robust debates. Ideas clash.
Situation, isn't it? Because the failure is...
You're deliberately avoiding my point.
Nothing's held back.
And if you think this is the end of it, wait for more.
And we do not shy away from the difficult stuff.
Sometimes I want to shake people and say, if only you understood.
So join me on Jubes & Kerr weeknights at 6 p.m, only on GB News, Britain's news channel.
Welcome back to Headliners. Time for a couple of comments from Your Say on gbnews.com/Your Say. Ian Wallace says, "This is a show for the radio I can't watch." I'm flattered. We're all flattered. Then he later commented saying, "That reminds me, I need some Velcro." Thank you very much. Actually, if you want to know what happened, I had a lobotomy. It's the only way I can cope with living in Britain at the moment.
We've been told not to talk about this.
No, we can talk about my lobotomy. It's really working. Look, the BBC portrays a wide variety of opinions.
It actually looks better than I thought it was going to look.
Keir Starmer's doing a great job. Multiculturalism seems to be a swimming success for the country. This thing's amazing. We should all get lobotomy. Moving on
That's
to the
not where
actual show.
lobotomy is.
We've got The Guardian now, and Europe's war on Elon Musk over his social media sites' alleged right-wing bias is hotting up as the EU demands access to X's algorithms.
Oh, yeah.
Why didn't they want to do this when it had a left-wing bias, Cressida?
Exactly. EU asks X for internal documents about algorithms as it steps up investigation. It says Musk's company has been accused of manipulating systems to give far-right posts and politicians greater visibility. Than what? Like, it doesn't finish the sentence. It's like, they mean then how it used to be when they were in charge. So, yeah, they're kind of coming in and demanding to see what's going on inside, what his business model is, what he's thinking. They don't know yet.
I wonder if they can actually legally do this. I mean, can you just say, you know, demand a company rips open its secret sauce?
Yes, this is England, this is Britain, this is the EU. Of course, you're like shocked at everything, Lee. Have they told you to act shocked? Because this is, it's horrible. Elon Musk is the greatest American after Louis Schaefer. No, it might be true. The guy's a great guy. And this is
I think he's done a lot to salvage democracy, not just in America, but in Europe and in the UK as well. Like making the difference, the way the left approach social media compared to the right. The right just want everybody to be able to say what they think, say what they feel, whereas the left are like, no, you're only allowed these opinions, and if you say the wrong ones, then we're taking it down, we're going to censor you, we're going to put you in jail. And it's like, I think
they just focus on what might go wrong, don't they? And I'm not pretending that Community Notes is perfect. Lewis is allowed on there, for example. It's a disaster, but it's just not as bad as the alternative.
Absolutely. And
no, you're wrong about this. Is the only reason that they like free speech is because they haven't been on free speech for a while, so of course they're going to like it. After a while, if they're on it too much, they won't be happy with. Possibly. I'm just saying a negative thing, but they might be not happy with the France and the Macron and Stormer saying things. They might say, you know what, we're a bit fed up with you and your wokeism, you know?
Well, it looks like Europe's going to have its own version of a Trump dawn, of a Millet dawn. They're going to have this massive swing to libertarian and right-wing parties. It's going to be fantastic to watch, frankly. Moving on, we've got the Mirror now, and it looks like TikTok will be banned, but the ban might only last a few hours until Trump gets in. Lewis.
Yes, that's a good point. U.S. TikTok ban to go ahead on Sunday, hours before Trump's inauguration. Donald Trump is being inaugurated on Monday, and I might be on a TV channel to watch that. But here's the point. That's quite amazing, really, that someone actually called me a second time.
Especially after the email I sent. But go on. I'm joking. Carry on.
Oh, OK. All right.
So tell us the story.
The story is that people weren't liking TikTok because it's run by the Chinese communists, number one. Number two, it wasn't in total control of Joe Biden, okay, and the American police state. So they passed this ruling saying you got to be out you have to sell your stake off by January 19th. Which is one day before the inauguration.
Yeah, that's a very specific date. They chose that literally one day before Trump gets in.
Yes, and what's going to happen is Donald Trump, he might say, you know what, they're not that bad, basically, so he'll let them stay. But they're owned by the Chinese Communist government, and they are really bad.
Hasn't he just got the sweet spot for them because he's good at TikTok? In that way, Keir Starmer should never be allowed anywhere near TikTok. Donald Trump, that's his style, isn't it? Short, funny, snappy. He'd be great on TikTok. So, but that's not a reason to let it get in the way, Donald. You don't let your vanity cloud your judgment.
But we don't want any social media things taken down, no matter who owns it, do we?
Well, I think there is an issue with, if the Chinese communist government has its fingers, its tentacles into TikTok and is pumping out. Because if you look at the difference between social media in China and social media in the West, social media in the West is just pushing out gender transition, advertising all this damaging stuff that's going to, corrupt and lead to degeneracy and stuff. Whereas in China, it's all like maths and how to be a good citizen and how to stand in a row and salute,
OK, that's a very good point. But the truth is that neither country is doing well making its people like its government. So why not just have the method that's here? In China, they are hating Xi Jinping, the ruler. They're hating the Communist Party.
Yeah, but they're probably able to articulate it better.
No,
they've been on Chinese TikTok
with
instead.
Numbers. Maybe with numbers. They're good at it. He mentioned numbers.
Moving on, we've got The Guardian now, and Britain
Britain's greatest and strictest head teacher, Catherine Burblesing, has clashed with Labour over preventing the sexual exploitation of school kids. Why do Labour always seem to be on the wrong side of this topic, Cressida?
London head teacher criticises Labour proposals to limit logos on uniforms. This is Catherine Burblesing, who is brilliant. She's taken a very underperforming school, very disadvantaged kids, and she's used terrible things like discipline and not talking in the corridor, and now the kids will get amazing GCSEs. Well done, her. We should roll this model out. No, actually, we're just going to criticise her. And so the latest little detail in all this is that she's saying, well, sorry, the government want to limit what parents spend on school uniform, but that means that then they'll go out and buy things that aren't uniform. And Catherine Burblesing is making the case that actually having the kids all dressed the same has advantages. For example, you can't get girls in much shorter skirts than other ones. They've got some control, and that's her style.
Yeah, and also it's a signal, having the school logo, it's a signal to, you know, potential attackers, as we've seen over the last few weeks, that's really, you know, come into the national eye, that's going to, you know, provide some protection to the children.
Why don't they let each school decide how long the skirts are going to be? They don't, because this is the most centralized government in the world next to the Communist Party, China.
Okay.
They don't need to do any of this.
What you're saying, they do that with the syllabus, but not with the skirt.
They shouldn't do it with the syllabus or anything. Let schools have a local thing like they do in the United States of America.
And that's the case that she makes.
Oh, is it?
Yeah, she thinks that schools should be allowed to exercise their judgment on a local level.
And they were saying the government was setting in closed limits to this, and they don't want the government to set limits on the number of...
You know, we gave you the story before the show to read, so you wouldn't have to find out about it on the show.
But then Cressida, she like spooks me out by saying, "Oh, I didn't read this," and you know she read it.
Yeah.
She does that.
She did very well in Catherine Burblesing's school. We've got the Mirror now with the latest from the world of Black Lives Matter grifting. This time it's a Georgia mayor and Black Lives Matter activist who spent a lot of taxpayers' money on one particular Black life that matters a lot to him. It's himself, Lewis.
Yes, this is... I wouldn't say this is shocking either. BLM, which is Black Lives Matter, activist, mayor, blew thousands of taxpayer cash on luxury 20-day vacation to Ghana. And that doesn't sound that shocking because...
Stop saying that about every story. Just tell us what the story is.
You're always saying that. Is this Georgia mayor, it was called in South Fulton, which is part of Atlanta, which is a major city, obviously. And he spent like £20,000 or more to go to Ghana, which is a country I know about, the friendliest people in Africa. And he went there, and he was like wasting the money, and this other woman, oh, not another woman, but a woman got upset at him.
Yeah.
So now they're battling, and he's saying, you know, he should be giving the money to black people. And it was a typical...
I mean, he is a black guy, so he kind of did.
Yeah.
Well,
he gave it to
and then he flaunted it on Instagram. I don't think he's that bright. And he's doubled down. He's saying that he did nothing wrong and claims that he thinks the claims are politically motivated. I beg to differ. There was no business reason for him to be over there. This was a holiday.
And it was a luxury holiday as well,
Yes,
with taxpayers' money. It seems he's gone to the Tulip Sadiq school of politics.
Well, when Donald Trump gets elected, there's going to be none of this stuff getting in there.
Yeah,
possibly. Let's hope that happens. I think people get a bit carried away when they think no one's watching, or the people who are watching don't really care that much. People were so afraid of Black Lives Matter during that time, you couldn't say anything, and now it's like, you know, you have to come up with a better excuse.
Well, the great thing about Donald Trump's cabinet is that half of them are billionaires, so they don't need to be grifting 20 grand off the taxpayer to go on a luxury holiday. They can just do it with their own money. Yeah. We've got the Daily Mail now with the latest in the court case over whether a man is a woman or a man. It's a tough question, and J.K. Rowling has given her opinion. I think I can guess what it is, Cressida.
Explosive twist in Australia's What is a Woman trans battle as Harry Potter author J.K. Rowling gets involved. So this is the court case Giggle versus Tickle. Tickle was a...
He's Mr. Men.
That's right. It's a Mr. Men trans battle.
Kind of is a Mr. Man.
It was a women's group, wasn't it? Tickle, Giggles... Oh, I get it wrong. Giggles for girls. And Roxy Tickle, who is a trans woman, wanted to join this group and wasn't allowed, was banned for being a biological male, and then sued and amazingly got $10,000 for this, which is already extraordinary to me.
Yeah.
But it's now doubling down and is going to file a cross appeal seeking to upgrade the judgment.
Yeah.
So Roxy has come back for another bite of the cherry.
And I've had a look at this Roxanne Tickle, the trans woman.
Pretty.
No, not one of the pretty ones. Not a Blair White. Just looks like, to be honest, it looks like
you could be sued for $10,000.
Looks like one of us.
Yeah.
To be honest, no. Like I mean, I'll happily.
For yourself.
No, I think it's an absolute. It's a farce, and it's making a mockery of not just. It's not just making a mockery of women's right to have their own spaces. It's making a mockery of genuine trans people who actually put some effort in and look like a woman.
What do you mean a genuine trans
And also,
people?
if
We don't believe in that.
If your name was Roxanne, if you were going to transition, you wouldn't pick the name Roxanne Tickle.
What?
You choose Tess.
You Tess. That's a kind of name. No, the truth is that's one of the problems, is you get a choice of the name you're going to choose. And of course, you're going to choose like a hot Roxanne. That's a hot Roxanne. That's a great name. They're not going to choose.
You don't think
Louis.
Tess would work better with Tickle?
They're not going to choose
It's an
Karen
actual
Van
joke.
Lawton. They're going to clue. I don't even know what name that is. I don't think there is a Karen Van Lawton.
OK, we're going to a break now, and I'm going to explain the joke I just made to Lewis. Coming up in the final section, we've got lefties bashing private schools, a fight between vegetarians and vegans, that's going to die out after about 6 seconds, and what your handshake says about your sex life. I think if the grip is too firm, it's because you've been indulging in too much self-pleasure. See you in a moment.
You're looking happy.
Well, the forecast looks good.
So you've sorted the travel insurance then?
All Clear Travel Insurance sponsors GB News Travel Destinations Forecast.
If you or someone you know is looking for winter sun over the next few days, it will be breezy across much of the Med with some wet weather for Italy, but a lot of fine weather for Portugal and Spain, at least on Saturday. We're going to see sunny skies, a few drops of rain there for Gibraltar, but this system, named Storm Gabri by the Italians, is going to bring some very wet and windy weather through Sardinia, Sicily and much of Italy. That moves away through next week and it turns more unsettled in Spain.
All Clear Travel Insurance sponsors GB News Travel Destinations Forecast.
GB News Breakfast. Every day from 6 a.m.
Look, if people want to do Veganuary, that's all well and good, but it shouldn't be forced on people, should it? Or even strongly suggested by something like the NHS?
It's not being forced on anybody. People can choose in the Wirral or any other NH trust that gets involved whether they want to partake or not. What they're doing are promoting the benefits of a vegan diet. Now, you imagine you're the NHS trust. You've got one person dying every 3 minutes from heart disease, and vegans get much less high blood pressure, much less heart disease than do meat eaters. So surely, if your job is to promote health, then you should let people know these kind of stats. Vegans get less cancer. Red meat is a class 1 carcinogen, classed by the World Health Organization as processed meat definitely causes cancer of the bowel. So it's just letting people know what the health advantages are of reducing or taking meat completely out of your diet and becoming vegan. You get less diabetes type 2, which is a big problem in the UK, less deaths from stroke, and around 1/5 less of all cancers. Imagine it was drugs that had that kind of impact. People would be hailing it and going, wow, this is amazing.
To call it about diversity and inclusion, I just think that's a load of nonsense. This is a move away by public bodies from this compulsory veganism. Look, your speaker from Viva, which is a very hardline animal rights organisation, attempts to talk about the environment and other issues, but really this to them is about animal rights. They don't believe in a world where we should use animals. I completely disagree with the speaker. I respect her right to say that, of course, but I completely disagree. And that's why the NHS and public bodies just shouldn't be getting involved in things that are so controversial.
GB News, the People's Channel.
I'm Christopher Hope. From pop stars to politicians, I'll interview anybody in a pub who's got a political opinion. Join me every Friday on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, YouTube or gbnews.com, or wherever you get your podcasts. This is GB News, the People's Channel.
We're proud to be GB News, the People's Channel. And as you know, we always love to hear your views. Now, there's a new way of getting in touch with us at gbnews.com/your-say. By commenting, you can be part of a live conversation and join our GB News community. You can even talk to me, Bev Turner, or any of the members of the GB News family.
Join me, Nana Akwe, for an informative, interactive news programme with a difference. It's fun.
No, he didn't say that, Dave.
I'm so surprised.
I think there's an element of truth to that.
Join me from 3 p.m. every weekend, only on GB News, Britain's news channel.
Welcome back to Headliners. I've got a couple more comments from GB News. Your say. Ian Evans says, I love Leo and Cressida on Headliners. The American bloke whose name I can never remember gets on my wick a bit. Don't worry, he can't remember his name either.
I just right here. This is my name, Louis Schaefer. Can we just...
Stuart Barrett says, Lewis still hasn't provided us with the important price of newspapers update. Distracted by Leo, I guess.
You know what? That's totally true.
It's totally true. But you know what? The prices haven't changed, so it doesn't matter. Anyway, moving on. We've got the Daily Mail with a new vampire film getting it in the neck from feminists over non-consensual sex.
Yes.
Does your court case prevent you from talking about this, Lewis?
No.
Well, could you talk about it then, please?
That was acting. That was
dead air. Yeah, like voiceless acting doesn't work so well on the radio.
Oh, it's not. We don't have any radio listeners either. Was that bad?
Yeah,
just tell us.
get on with
Don't
it.
call HR on me.
Get on with it.
No, you want to read the story, Nos?
Cressida, could you read the story?
Nosferatu viewers slam vampire horror for romanticising rape and claim Lily Rose Depp's character couldn't consent, but the actress herself insists she isn't a victim. No, because she's a massive Hollywood star.
Yeah, and she's being paid massive amounts of money to be in this film.
Yes, she is.
So why would she complain about
Well,
it?
I haven't seen the film, so obviously I'm the best placed person to comment on it.
Neither has anybody seen it.
No, of course they have. That's why they're complaining, because apparently there's a scene. The guy isn't physically with her. It's like she's dreaming about the guy. This is me trying to repeat what I've read. I haven't seen
So
it.
she's dreaming about it and it's non-consensual. I mean, you can't get done for non-consensually doing something in a dream, can you? This is like my wife wakes up and like hits me and she's like, why were you making out with my sister? And it's like, it wasn't my dream.
And she was in the room.
Yeah. Also, you don't have a sister. What are you talking about?
Oh, sorry.
Also, this is nothing like the original. I'm offended on behalf of fans of the original silent movie. Have you seen it?
That's before my time. Is it still around?
Well, after your time, there came a thing called YouTube. Anyway, that's besides the point. We're very sensitive, aren't we, about these things, but we're also very confused because half the world is, like, hypersexualised and the other half is grabbing their pearls and going, oh, I can't believe it.
And British people are both.
Yes, exactly.
Are you shocked by this?
I'm not shocked by this.
Not you, Cressida. Cressida's always shocked.
Well, I haven't seen the film, so I can't really comment.
The truth is, first of all, there was a Nosferatu made in the 1980s by Werner Herzog, which was brilliant. And
OK, we're getting a bit off topic, but we've got the Daily Mail now with the new trend of women mansplaining. Is that womansplaining? Please, Lewis, explain this to me.
Well, the age we start turning into our parents, it's 43. And that's what they say. But I'm a bit older than that. 43 is an important age for me.
It's not the story I read out, but...
What is the story?
Mansplaining. One that's got mansplaining written at the top.
Sorry. People were paying attention to it. It's not just men. Women can be mansplaining too, scientists say. This is done at the Columbia Business School and Stanford Research. They found a study. They did a study and they gave a list of requests or statements to women from men and women, but they didn't tell the women that they were giving them to that they were from men or women. And they asked the women, are you offended by this statement or that statement? And they found that women are, like my Cressida here, is offended by everything. She's everything that I say is bad and destroying everything that
Cressida, I should just ask you to explain this.
That's true. The only difference was when the advice came from a woman, the participants were less likely to feel that stereotypes about their own gender had probably influenced the interaction.
Interesting. Well, moving on, we've got The Guardian now really stretching to find a way to bash successful people. They've somehow found a way to blame air pollution on private schools, Cressida.
I think we're going too fast on the story because I don't understand that story.
It's OK. Well, it's for other people who are younger and more alert.
Private school run in South London linked to 27% rise in air pollution. Campaigners say pollution levels in the street in Herne Hill were far higher when private schools were open. surely it would have been the same when any school was out. It's just more traffic, isn't it?
So are they saying that private schools generate more traffic because people can afford to drive their kids to school?
Well, maybe that's it.
Then when the kids go to state school, it's not like they're going to suddenly get hoverboards and go to school, and they're still going to get driven to school by their parents.
But also, this street, which I know, which is very near Nunhead, and has been under a low traffic.
LTN?
An LTN, exactly.
Right.
An LTN. So what they're trying to do there, they're trying to move all the stuff off the roads, which is causing tremendous backlog in the area.
Right.
When
so that's actually contributing. The low traffic scheme is contributing to air pollution.
You might have
who'd have thought a left-wing scheme backfiring? Anyway, the show is nearly over, so let's take another quick look at tomorrow's front pages.
Is the show
The Sun
over?
has no remorse. That's the BBC platform drill rapper who murdered a 16-year-old boy. He is back in jail. The Times has Labour's tax plans trigger exodus of millionaires. The Telegraph has Trump to rule on Starmer's Chagos deal. Trump is going to save the UK. The Eye has train drivers to demand bigger 2025 pay deal and new headache for Labour. And the Daily Mail has found after 80 years, secret diary of Hitler's English girlfriend, aged 13 3/4. The Star has Make Hollywood Great Again. And that's all we have time for. Thank you to my guests, Cressida Wetton and Lewis Schaefer. I'll be back tomorrow at 11 p.m. with Stephen Allen and Nick Dixon. See you then. Goodbye.
There will be a light breeze in the morning, leading to a warm front. Boxed heat pumps, sponsors of weather on GB News.
Good evening. It's time for your latest Met Office weather forecast for GB News. Now, as we go through this coming weekend, it is going to be pretty chilly, despite the fact that there may be a bit more sunshine on offer than we've had through today, at least. Still heavily under the influence of high pressure, this clinging on for quite a while, but eventually, as we go through this weekend, a front will push in. But for the time being, any frontal systems staying to the northwest, so the wet weather across northwest Scotland through today, that clears away this evening, so a largely dry picture overnight. A lot of cloud though, clear breaks really confined to just northern parts of Scotland and a few breaks elsewhere. Where we get the clear breaks, temperatures will drop a touch of frost. Even under the cloud though, it is going to be a cold and perhaps even frosty start first thing tomorrow morning. Like I said, the greatest breaks overnight will be across northern parts of Scotland. So here a bright start, but a chilly one for some places here. Further south, it is looking largely cloudy, limited breaks in the cloud overnight and first thing tomorrow morning. So not a huge amount of sunshine. And across much of England and Wales, a lot of cloud, and that cloud is going to be quite thick. So there will be some spots of drizzly rain around. And with temperatures in some places close to or a little bit below freezing, that drizzly rain could actually come in the form of snow grains instead in some places. But as we go into the afternoon, a greater chance of seeing some sunny skies, especially across parts of northern England, Wales, the southwest, and also northern parts of Northern Ireland and Scotland too. That being said, temperatures are likely to be a little bit lower than today, and in the south it's going to be pretty chilly, and even further north only around average for the time of year. After a potentially foggy and frosty start on Sunday, it is going to be a similar day to Saturday really for many places. Some sunshine, but a bit of rain starting to push its way in from the west, although this doesn't look especially heavy. Staying largely cloudy as we go through the outlook period into the beginning of next week, and temperatures a little bit on the low side. Bye-bye.
We can expect clear skies, leading to a light and warm day ahead. Lovely. Boxed Solar, sponsors of weather on GB News.
Don't miss your chance to win our biggest cash prize ever. An incredible £50,000. That's tax-free cash to spend on anything you like this year. What would you spend it on? £50,000 could buy those treats you've always dreamed of having. And just one entry into the Great British Giveaway really could make £50,000 cash all yours. For another chance to win, text cash to 63232. One entry costs £2 plus one standard network rate message. Or text bonus to 63232. 5 entries cost £5. £2 plus 1 standard network rate message. Go to gbnews.com/win. Entries start from just £2. You can call 0903 681 3232. Calls cost £2 plus your network access charge. Or post your name and number to GB10 PO Box 8690 Derby DE1 9TT. UK only. Entrance must be 18 or over. Lines close at 6 p.m. on the 31st of January. Please check the closing time if listening or watching on demand. Good luck.
Good Afternoon Britain isn't just about us. The wonderful thing about this programme is it's about everyone watching. It's an interactive programme.
Well, there absolutely is something to see here, and we're going to be talking about it more. Whether it's breaking royal news, Will, please bring us up to date. Or indeed a particularly punchy speech in the House of Commons.
Very, very curious.
We bring it to you live, and then we bring you live reaction as well.
That's Good Afternoon Britain, weekdays from midday.
Only on GB News, the People's Channel, Britain's news channel. Join